Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, everyone, and welcome back. I'm really glad to see you here for our second session. Whether you're joining live or catching this as it streams, thank you for taking the time to continue learning and building your Excel skills with me. Before we dive into today's training session, I would like to briefly introduce myself for those who may not know me yet. My name is Norgelio Dieguez. I'm a passionate about data analytics and using technology to work smarter and make better decisions. Professionally, I work as an assistant manager CPFR. For those who don't know what CPFR is, it's collaborative planning, forecasting, and replenishment, where I spend a lot of my time analyzing data, building reports, improving forecasting processes, and helping teams make more informed business decisions. Over the years, tools like Excel, data analysis, and automatization have become a big part of my daily work. And I have seen firsthand how powerful these skills can be when used correctly. I genuinely love learning and teaching, and that's really the main reason I decided to create this space. My goal is to build a community where we can learn together, share knowledge, and grow our skills step by step. So, whether you're just getting started with Excel or looking to sharpen your data skills, I hope you find these sessions helpful and decide to join with me on this journey. In this journey. So, let's begin. Today we are going to continue strengthening the foundation we started last week. Before we move into the new material, we will begin with a quick recap of what we covered in the previous lessons, just to make sure everyone is aligned and comfortable with the concept we introduced. Let's jump to the screen. After the recap, we will talk through the topics planned for today's session and start working through the new material step by step. Also, just a quick note about the stream. This training is currently being broadcast across Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. On Facebook, sometimes the video may appear on a vertical format, which doesn't always give you enough screen space to clearly to see the Excel exercise. So, if that happens, you may want to switch over to LinkedIn or YouTube, where the format usually displays the screen much better. And if you can't stay for the full session today, don't worry about it. The full replay will always be available on YouTube, so you can watch it anytime. One more thing. This week, I didn't share the Zoom meeting link publicly. However, if you would like to join a more private session where you can interact more directly, just let me know in the comments and I will share the Zoom link with you. Alright, with that said, let's get started with a quick recap of our last lesson. During our last lesson, we were able to cover a lot of important foundation concepts. We actually skipped section 1 and we started the training on section 2, which focus on understanding the Excel environment. If you look at here, we start by discussing the basic structure of Excel, including what a workbook is, what a worksheet is, and how the cell architecture works inside of a spreadsheet. From there, we took a deeper look at several core Excel terminologies and explored the navigation interface, learning how Excel organizes information and how users interact with it. We also covered how to work with multiple cells and reviewed important mouse interactions, tools that help you to select, move, and manage data more efficiently. After that, we talk about the ribbon, the tabs, and the quick access toolbar, and how these components act as the command center of Excel. We explore how Excel can be customized for productivity by reviewing the most common tabs and understanding what each of these is typically used for in a daily work. Finally, on section 2, we look at ways to personalize the workspace, including how to customize the ribbon, how to customize the quick access toolbar, and how to pin recent files or mark them as favorites so you can access your most important work quickly. In section 3, just this one, we began an introduction to the efficient data input. This section focuses on how to work faster and more accurately when entering data in Excel. Instead of relying only on the mouse, we explore how small workflow improvements and keyword techniques can significantly speed up everyday tasks. We also cover accurate data entry and editing techniques. In this part, we learn several useful keyboard shortcuts that help you move through Excel more efficiently while entering data. For example, we saw how to stay in the same cell by pressing Ctrl plus Enter, how to move to the cell above using Shift plus Enter, how to move to the right using the Tab key, and how to move to the left using the Shift plus Tab. Within the same section, we also look at 2 different ways of copying data quickly. We talk about how to populate ranges efficiently, how to add line breaks inside of a cell, and how to use Format Painter to quickly copy formatting, and how to work with grid lines and custom borders to make worksheets cleaner and more professional. Toward the end of the session, we also began touching on section 3, lecture 3. So we already start stepping into the next concept. So today, we actually have quite a bit of material to cover. My goal for this session is to make it all the way to lecture 6. However, as I mentioned before, my main priority is not just speed, it's making sure that everyone is actually learning and getting the most value out of this intensive training. If you find this content helpful and valuable, I will really encourage you to share it with others in our community. We also want to grow and learn, especially people who have an interest in data analytics, business analytics, data engineering, or data science. And I also want to emphasize something important. I don't consider myself an expert. What I do have is more than 10 years of experience with working with Excel, including almost 5 years doing more advanced work building large Power Pivot models, creating relationships between tables, cleaning and transforming data, working with Power Query, and writing DAX. I also have hands-on experience with tools like Power BI, SQL, and Python, even though in my current role I don't get used to them as much as I would like. So what I'm sharing with you today comes from the skills I have learned over the years, along with continuous research and practice to make sure I bring you the most relevant and up-to-date concepts possible. Okay, so let's start with the lecture 3. Formulas and percentage calculation in Excel. In this lecture, we're going to focus on something fundamental. In Excel, calculating totals, using formulas efficiently, and working with percentage. These are some of the most common things you will do in Excel. So once you understand these concepts, you will start moving much faster in your spreadsheets. So let's go step by step. As you can see, in the last session, we were working on this chart, trying to get this data. I'm gonna clear this, we ended up with this. We were trying to simulate this example. And the last thing that I remember we were talking, I was teaching you how to do a sum, which is a very simple formula. There is different ways to do it, but I want us to start from the beginning. So from how to create it. First, how to sum values in Excel. Everything in Excel calculations start with an equal sign. No matter what you're doing, if you're doing a calculation, you have to add an equal sign. When you type the equal sign, you're basically telling Excel, I'm about to perform a calculation. From there, Excel knows to treat whatever comes next as a formula. The method number 1. Let's do a manual addition. One simple way to add number is by doing it manually. You type the equal signs, select a cell, type a plus sign. So it's gonna be this, you type a plus sign, and then select the next cell. Let's say I want to sum that, and then I hit enter. And then you have the value, 815. This works perfectly fine when you are adding just a couple of cells, but when you start working with larger data sets, there is a much better way. Here comes the second method. The second method, it's using the function sum. Excel has built-in functions that makes calculation much faster and cleaner. One of the most common ones is the sum function. Instead of selecting cells one by one, you can simply select a range of cells. Let's say sum, and then you select the range of cells, and then close parentheses, and you hit enter, and you get the same result. The big advantage here is efficiency. Instead of writing long formulas, you let Excel handle the entire range, which keep your formulas short, clean, and scalable. Now, one question. What happens when you drag formulas? Do you remember the drag handle when you get this little cross here and then you drag? What happens when you drag formulas? What happens? One of Excel's most powerful features, and I want you to remember this, is something called relative referencing. This allows formulas to adjust automatically. When you drag a formula down, Excel adjusts the row number. For example, if your formula says C8D8, which is this one, and then you drag it down one row or several rows, Excel will automatically change it to the next row. So if we had here C8D8, on this one will be C9D9, and on this one will be C10D10, and on this one will be C11D11. Excel adapts the formula based on its new position. Copying formulas without formatting. Let's see this one. Sometimes when you copy a formula, Excel also copy the formatting. But maybe you only want the calculation and not the colors or style. Let's say this one is yellow, and then you want to drag it down, and then it's copying everything. It's copying all the styles. But let's say that you want to copy it, but you don't want to copy the formatting. In that case, you can right click and choose fill without formatting. You can click here, and then you can choose fill formatting only, fill without formatting. And that what will do is it will extend the formulas but without the formatting. This keeps your spreadsheet looking clean and consistent while still applying the formula. Now, let's talk about the other way to do it. Or let's remove all the formatting from this. So let's say I drag it. Then we have another one, time-saving shortcut, and it's called AutoSum. Let's talk about one of the biggest savers. You will find the AutoSum button represented by the Sigma button right here in the Home tab under the Editing group. When you click in it, look what it happens. Boom. Excel automatically tries to detect the range you want to sum. Most of the time it guesses correctly. You just press enter and the total is calculated instantly. If you see with the example we have, it's exactly the same number. Now, if you like working with a keyboard, which is what I like to do, and it's what I highly recommend, you can use the shortcut when you are here. You can use a shortcut all and all plus equal, and it will do the same. That instantly insert the sum function, and it's one of the fastest ways to calculate totals. If you want to calculate this total, alt plus equals, alt plus equal, and boom, you have all the data you're needing. There are also some powerful filters. If you want to apply the same formula to multiple cells at once, first select the entire range where you want the formula, then press F2 to edit. Let's say that we have this and we want to extend it. So I can do this and I can press F2 and then you have the formula there. And then when you press Ctrl plus Enter, Excel will apply the formula to every selected cell simultaneously. This is good when you are doing a long line of rows and you want to select. The other easy way is another useful shortcut. It's when you can step down. Let's say you have selected all this and you can do command Control D. Control D, and it will do the same. This fills the formula downward quickly. It's simple, but when you are working with large data sets, it saves a lot of time. Yeah. Just repeating the same thing. You wrote your formula, but you want to drag it down, so you select the range and you press Control D, and it will automatically extend the formula. Now, for this one, we will call it this one. It's gonna be the total, right? The next one is gonna be, let's talk about calculating percent change, which is extremely common in business analysis. The formula is straightforward. You take the current value, subtract the previous value, and divide the result by the previous value. It sounds like hard to say, but it's actually really easy. Let's say you take, thank you, Lai. You take, you can open parentheses. Actually, because I'm not actually doing a formula here, I just want to show you what could be the concept of how to do a percent change. So what you do is you open parentheses and you do the current value. We can do current value minus previous value divided by previous value. That's kind of how you calculate the percentage change. There is another formula I'll show you in a minute, but for now, let's work with that one. So let's do a percentage change. I'll type here percentage change. So we said that we're gonna get the current, we're gonna open parentheses, we're gonna get the current value minus previous, I got the total. So I want to get the current value, which is February, minus the previous value, which is January, divided by previous value, which is January. And when we get, it's a 0.10465. And if we see here, times 100, that gives you 10% something, which is what we have here. We're gonna see the formatting in the next lectures. So we have that. This gives you a growth rate. Let's say that February was down 10% versus February was down 10% versus January. That's the example. Another way to write the same calculation is dividing the current value, and I'm gonna write it here. And this one is the one I use. It's dividing the current value by the previous value and then subtracting 1. So you can do a current value divided by previous value minus 1. It's, oh, I forgot I have to add, like I said, every time you open an equal, Excel is gonna think that you're doing a formula, you're doing a function. So you add a quote sign here, and then it allows you to have the formula. So it's gonna be the current value divided by previous value minus 1. And I'm gonna use this one here just to test it out and see that we're getting the same result. Equals current value divided by previous value minus 1. That gives me 10,465, which is the same number. It's the same percent change. Both formulas, they give the same result, the same percentage change result. There's no difference. You can use the one you prefer. Like people like my boss, she used a lot the first one. They got used to it. When I learned it the other way. And now, even when I know how to do it, the calculation the different way, let's say that I'm building a report for her or something like that, or she's present, and I know that she may not understand the second option, which is the one I use all the time. I go by the first one. That way she understands that I'm doing the percentage change in this proper way. Now, let's talk about formatting. Calculations are not only part of the job. Presentation also matters. Excels make it easy to format numbers properly. In the Home tab, here on top, inside the number, here, number group, you will find several useful formats. You can apply accounting format, you can apply percentage, and then you can apply the comma style or general numbers. Using the correct format makes your data easier to read and much more professional. Let's say I want to add the percentage. First, I'm gonna use something we already talked about. I'm gonna select the range and I'm gonna press Ctrl D. As I said, I love to use my keyboard. I'm gonna make this smaller, that way we can see how it looks like. And then to convert this to percentage, I'm gonna go to the number group here in the Home tab in the ribbon, and I'm gonna select the percentage. In this case, I did in a 0 value, but it's if I wanted to add a comma value extra, I can do it, and I'll show you in a minute. Right now, we're gonna format the percentage. The other thing that we're gonna format is these numbers. If you see, these numbers are hard to read. And there is several ways to do it, but the simple improvement is adding 1,000 separators. What is 1,000 separators? 1,000 separators is a comma that you add after 1,000. For example, a number like 1 million becomes much easier to read once Excel adds the commas. If you select everything here, I'm gonna go here to the comma style. I'm gonna click it and look what it does. Boom, I have a comma saying that it's 3,905. So this comma helps me to identify better the 1,000 values. It's much easier to read. These small formatting steps make a big difference in readability. Now, as you see, we did the commas, we have good, but now it looks bad because we have 000, we have all that extra space that we don't need. How can we remove the decimal places from there? We can control how many decimal places appear in your numbers. Excels provide buttons to increase or decrease decimals. This allows us to adjust with precision depending on the context of our data. Let's say you're working with decimals because you are paying with cents or you're paying with different values or something, and you need to show cents. Even to a third level, you can go as far as you want, adding zeros or decimal places, or you can remove as many as you want. Like in this case, for my option, I will just remove them. It looks way much cleaner, right? Then now I'm gonna delete this. I'm gonna select here these ones, and I'm gonna format. I think I'm gonna format here to get the lines, and I'll reformat this to a percentage, and I already have the common values. And to finish up with the same example, I'm gonna do a total, and I can select this. We already talked about the font section where I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it back highlight, blue highlight fill. I'm gonna use a fill color, and if you see, you have black, so it's hard to see. I like to turn it white, and boom, I have it. I think that I added a bold here to this, so I'm gonna select these ones and I'm gonna bold it. I'm gonna press Ctrl B in order to do that, and I'm gonna bold this one as well, pressing Ctrl B, and voila, we have our table. It's the same thing. Electronics, good job, team, good job. We are doing a great job with this. Now let's talk about dates. We are gonna talk now about dates, working with dates and time in Excel. This one is gonna be a very easy one. Formatting dates correctly. First, let's talk about formatting dates correctly. When you type a date in Excel, it's important to understand that Excel doesn't always interpret that date the same way everywhere. That way Excel reads your date. The way Excel reads your date depends on your regional settings. That's very important. For example, here in United States, the standard format is month, day, and year. If you go to Cuba, where I'm from, we usually use day, month, and year, which is different. I can give you I'm gonna give you a short story, and I don't want to get longer with my stories, but a small story. When I came to US, I have one of my kids. His birthday is April 13, 20. Okay, the other way around. April 11, 2013. That's how we say it here in the US. But in Cuba, it used to be 11 of April 2013. When I got here, I had to switch dates. I started writing his date, and it was all the time was 11. It was 4, 11, 13. 11, 13, 11, 13. And I was doing that, but in my mind, I confused regional settings here in the US with regional settings in Cuba. So the day when his birthday was happening on the 11th, I didn't call him to say happy birthday. So I waited until the 13th because I thought his birthday was on the 13th and not on the 11th. So I called him to Cuba 2 days later just because I was not sure, or not because I was not sure, because I could assure that his birthday was not the 11th, it was the 13th, but it was because we have this regional setting switch, and it made me to change his birthday date. So if you type 03, just to give you an example, 03-07, Excel will typically read that has March 7th, not July 3rd, like we'll do in Cuba. In Cuba will be 3rd of July. In here, it's March 7th. You see, March 7th. If you ever want to change how Excel is formatting your date, here how you can do it. You can go to the cell, you can go right click, go to format cells, and then here you're gonna see that we have date, and date it's saying here locale or location English United States. That's the easiest way to get it. So these settings determines how Excel expects dates to be entered and how they will appear in your worksheet. Understanding this is very important because it prevents common mistakes where Excel reads a date differently than what you intended to. Now, let's talk about quick timestamps. They are very extremely helpful, and Excel has built-in keywords shortcuts that allow you to instantly insert the current date or time. The easiest way, like if you want to do a timestamp, the easy way is you press Control and semicolon. That give you the date. It's very easy to do it. The other way is if you want to insert the current time, press Control, Shift, and the semicolon, and it will give you the current time. It's saying that it's 6:31. Now, if you want both date and time in the same cell, there is a little trick here. First, you're gonna do a Control Enter, and you're gonna get your stamp. Then you're gonna do space, and then you're gonna do Control Shift, semicolon, and boom, you have your timestamp with the date. It's a very tricky, but it's how it is. Now I added here become a pro trip, select and press Control plus hashtag or hash to instantly convert the date, month, year format, making it much easier to read. Let's say in my case it will be Control Shift 3, Control Shift 3. That will convert to this one, and I can do Control Shift 3, and that will convert to that one. And if you see it's way much easier to read. It's 4 March 26. Control Shift 3. Then I can go back to short date if I want, and I can change here to maybe date. Now you saw me like I didn't right click and I did format cells. Okay, the shortcut for that is Control plus 1. You press Control plus 1 and it will give you the format cells, and you have all the numbered formatting, which in future lessons we are gonna go in deeper to all this. So don't worry for that if you don't know what this is. But yes, we're gonna talk about all these subjects. One important thing to remember is static timestamps. That means they will not update automatically later. It's not like if you're doing a formula like equal today, that date is a formula. If you open the workbook today, it was gonna say March 4th. If you open the workbook tomorrow, it's gonna say March 5th. It's differently than getting a stamp. When you do a stamp, you stamp the date of in the moment, right at the moment. There is no changes with that. So be careful. So when do you use this? This is very useful. When you are logging entries or maybe tracking submissions or recording updates or simply making the exact moment when something happened in your data. That's where you do a timestamp. Those are the basics of working with dates and time in Excel. It's very basics. Of course, this is just the foundation. In the upcoming sections, we are going to go deeper into date calculations, time calculations, working with durations, advanced date functions, and how to analyze data that is based on time. And we're going to talk some sections where we're going to talk about Power Query, and Power Query brings a lot more of date and time calculations and functions that we can use to our advantage. But for now, understand the fundamentals of working with date and time in Excel. That's a very strong foundation to build on. Okay. Now let's jump to the other one. We still have time. I think it's 6:34. Let's talk about the autofill. Let's talk about these options in Excel, because this one is one of the features that can save you a lot of time when entering data. First, when you drag the fill handle, so we all know what the fill handle is. It's not this or it's not this. It's when you get that black side, when you drag the fill handle, that little square in the bottom right corner of the cell, Excel doesn't just copy the cell's value. It actually gives you several autofill options that control how the data is filled. For example, we are copying here text. We are copying text, and each one of them, they have their own functions, and we're gonna look at it. But let's say I'm dragging down text. The first thing it did, it duplicated. But look what I have here. I have the autofill options, and if I click here, I see I have different options. I have copy cells. I can do fill formatting only. Let's say I have something written here, test, 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 and then I do here and I delete it, but I came here and fill format only, and what it will do, it will duplicate or copy the formatting all the way down. The other thing is, let's say I go here and I drag it down, I can click and I can say fill without formatting. Boom, we have the first one, then we have all others without the formatting option. That's good. And like the one we said that we explained at the beginning, that it just duplicate the values. Now in the options we have the flash fill. Flash fill, it's something we are gonna talk next, and you are gonna love it. It's gonna blow your mind. So just stay tuned, enjoy this, because flash fill will speed up your work process. If you don't know what flash fill is, today you're gonna learn it, and it's, like I said, it's gonna blow your mind. Okay, let's go to the second example. It's the numbers. If you drag a number, a few things happen. It's different. Like I said, each option tells Excel how you want the data to behave. Sometimes you want exact copy, other times you want Excel to generate sequence. Understanding these options gives you much more control over your data. Now, let's look at this example. Creating serial numbers. If I drag this down, what I got 1 1 1 1 1 1 1. Now if, let's say, I want to do a series of numbers, or maybe I want to duplicate, but if I want to do a series of numbers because I'm doing a list, and I know I need to create a list of numbers, I can click here. What do we have? We changed the options. Now we have different options that we had for text. So we have the fill series, and if with the fill series, boom, it changed from 1 to 9. Also, we have the same options. We have fill formatting only and fill without formatting, those are the options that we already talked about on the previous one, so I don't want to talk about those. This is, like I said, this is extremely useful for things like index columns, invoice numbers. It's good for tracking IDs or simply for numbering rows in a data set. Now, let's talk about month. This one is a good one. About month, we can drag it down, and if you see here, it's already telling me, hey, now May, June, July, August, September, October. It's giving me that smart autofill options for me to pick up. But what options I have for the month? Let's say I drag it down. I can click, and now I have copy cells, which is gonna be February. I can do fill series, which is gonna do what it did. We can do fill format only, and we can do fill without formatting. That's the other one. And we can do fill month, which is, it's kind of doing the same. Then, like I said, flash fill, we're gonna leave it for the next lecture, for the flash fill lecture. Then we have Saturday with the weekdays. Filling the weekdays only, it's another powerful autofill option. And it appears when you're working with dates. So we have Saturday. Let's say you enter a start date or yes, like a Saturday. I can drag it down, and if you see it's in Sunday, Monday, it's giving me a series. But look how amazing this is. So when I select that, I can drag, and it's giving me the series, but look what it says. It's giving me different options. I can do a copy cell, and it will repeat Saturday all the way down. I can do fill the series, which is what I already did. We have fill formatting only, fill without formatting. We have fill days. So I can click here, and it's going to do the same, because what it's doing is giving me the days. But what it's saying here, fill weekdays. So if I click here, it's going to change. So I already have Saturday here. So it has to ignore this one because it's the first cells I gave. But then it starts with Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And what happens again? We don't have Saturday or Sunday. It goes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That is amazing. That is fast. That helps a lot. Another options we have, let's delete this to keep the table clean. The other option we have, it's with date. Let's say that you enter starting a date and drag the fill handle downward. Excel will normally fill every day. 25, 26, 27, 28, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. But if you open the autofill, look how many days you have. Fill series, which is what we did. Fill formatting only, fill without formatting. Fill days is gonna give me those days because those are the dates. But then I have fill weekdays. So it's gonna give me Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Then we can say fill month. So it's gonna do it, it's gonna give me the date for that specific month. Or I can do fill years, and it's going to give me the same date for different years. And then the flash fill, of course, we are going to talk about this. So this is very important. If you open up to fill options, you're going to see a lot of options depending of what type of data you're working with. It could be a text, number, a month, a weekday, or a date. This becomes incredibly helpful when you're building work schedules, projects, timelines, or anything that needs to follow business days only. Now, there is a couple of important things to keep in mind. First, regional settings matter. Excel recognizes days and months based on your system language. So if your computer is not set to English, Excel may not recognize entries like January. Excel might not recognize entries like January or Monday. In that case, you will need to type the month or date in your local language. For example, if your system language is Spanish, you will type N or enero instead of Jan or January. Okay? The other thing that we need to know is something that you might encounter is that sometimes the autofill option button doesn't appear after dragging, so it doesn't show here. If that happens, you can enable it very easily. You can go to File, Options, and then you can go to the Advanced Options, and then scroll down to the Cut, Copy, and Paste section. Cut, Copy, and Paste section. There you will find options called Show Paste Options button when your content is pasted. Make sure this box is checked. If this box is not checked, you may encounter problems trying to use the auto fill date option. Once this is enabled, Excel will display the autofill options every time you drag the fill handle, allowing you to quickly choose the behavior you want. And that's how you can use autofill options to make your data entry faster, cleaner, and much more efficient. Now let's talk about this one. And this one is one of my favorite ones. Like I said, you're gonna love it. I'm gonna open here, making sure everything is aligned and we can see everything. Okay, flash fill or rapid pattern recognition, depending on how you want to call it. It's fine. Let's talk about it. I call it flash fill. In Excel, it call it flash fill, but some people they call it rapid pattern recognition. And a few things you need to know how to use it effectively. First, let's look at how to trigger flash fill in Excel. There are actually several ways to do it. The number one, it's from the autofill option dialog box. The first way is through the, like I said, through the dialog box. After you drag the fill handle, Excel will display a small autofill options icon. If you click on that icon, you will see several options, and one of them is the flash fill. Simplify, select flash fill, and Excel will apply the pattern it detects. Let's say I have name, but I need to split name on first name and last name, and my first option is gonna be trying to do Ethan Walker, and then I'll try to do Madison and la. But that's a pain, and if you have a long list of names, that could take you hours to do it. Let's say you have 1,000 names. That becomes a problem. So the first option, the first way to do it, like I was saying, it's you can select, you can drag, and here what it comes. You see that it duplicates, but now we are gonna try this flash fill option. If I try the flash fill option, what it will do is it will analyze what I did, and it will try to recognize some patterns on this data, and it will try to apply it. If you see, it detected that I was looking for everything that was the first name. So everything before the space, it's what it really, in the background, it detects. So it went to Ethan, Madison, Caleb, Olivia, and all others. Now, the second way to do it, it's from the ribbon. You can go to the Home tab, then look for the editing group, which is here, and then click on Fill, and then from Fill we will have the flash fill. So let's come here, select a fill, and then flash fill, and it will do the same. It detects that I'm trying to get the last name, which is the last word in the sentence, and it's trying to do it here. So this will tell Excel to analyze the pattern in your data and automatically complete the rest. Now, let's go to the faster way. Keyboard shortcuts. This is the fastest and most efficient method, at least for me. You can simply, and you love this, you will simply press Ctrl E. Once Excel recognizes the pattern you are creating, pressing Ctrl E will instantly apply flash fill to the remaining cells. Let's try it out. I got to my company, I got to a company, and when I got there, my boss told me, "Hey, I'm creating a database of emails for our team, and the email is gonna be Ethan_Walker, the last name, and then it's gonna be at." Let's think about something. Let's think about email could be not email.com. What do you guys think about that? So I hit Control Enter, and I got the email. Ethan_Walker@notemail.com. It's not that cool? I love it. Okay, so it's easy. We already talked about I can drag it and I can select and I can do a flash fill from here and I will do it. I also can do it from here, but what a beautiful thing. It's like if I come to the next cell, I just type that one and I just have to press Control E and it will automatically detect the pattern I was creating and it will multiplicate or it will extend all the way down, creating an email for each one of the names here created. And it saved me a lot of time. Now, let's go to this other example. It's working with proper case. Yes, there is formulas. I can use a formula equal, and you will learn it in the future, proper, and that gives me Ethan Walker. And then I can work with the formula all the way down, which is very helpful. Now, that's me that I know the formula. But let's say we are right now working on flash fill. In the flash fill, I will have to type my first one. It's going to be Ethan Walker. So I'm giving my proper case example to the flash fill. Now I'm going to quickly press Control E. And what happens? Madison Brook. You see, we got an error here. That's why you have to double check. So we have Ethan Walker. We have E. Addison or Waddison Brooks. So what I'm going to do is, in this case, I'm going to create another one. I'm going to do Madison Brooks. And I'm going to give a second example. And then I'm going to press Control E. And it's going to do it again. But, like you see, it's not as effective. And I'll try with another one. Let's try with giving some patterns to see if it understands that what I want is I guess it didn't do it. It does sometimes doesn't. It depends of what is flash fill understanding. In this case, I guess that the easiest way is just going with proper. And then you can do and select everything. So yeah, that will be the easiest way to do it. Like I said, sometimes it have issues, sometimes doesn't, but usually a very high percent of the time it's very accurate. Let's try this other example I brought you. So this one is the opposite way. We have the name separated and we need to get them in the same spot. So what I'm going to do is Ethan Walker. And then I'm going to press Control E and boom. We have Madison Brook, Caleb Turner, Olivia Hayes, Logan Mitchell, Ava Reynolds, Noah Carter. Now let's try this one. This one may work, may not. Like I wrote here, flash fill may require examples in more than one cell to recognize a pattern. So let's try with smartphone. And then I'm going to press Control E and actually work. Perfect. But yes, sometimes you have to, like I was trying here to do a pattern and it didn't work it. Sometimes you have to create patterns to figure out. Now with date, it's gonna be kind of like the same thing. You can do 2024. Then you press Control E and boom, you have your year. It detects automatically. If let's say it's a date, you do 14, then you do Control E and then you have the date. Or if you want the month, you do a 3, Control E, and then you have the month. It's very simple, very easy to use. Like I said, it saves time. It can make mistakes. everyone made mistakes, but it's very useful if you know how to use it. You just, like always, you have to pay attention. But like you see, it saves you a lot of time. And let's say that you only have 9 names there. Think about if you have 3,000 names, what is going to happen with that? Crazy, right? So now, if flash fill is not working, what happens? Let's say that you try and it's not working. If you don't see flash fill behaving the way it should, the first thing you should check is the Excel settings. Let's go to File, Options, and go to Advanced. In Advanced Settings, we have to make sure that we have a few things enabled. First, let's ensure that Enable Fill Handle, which is Enable Fill Handle and Cell Drag and Drop, are activated and are on. Second, verify that automatically flash fill is enabled. Automatically flash fill right here. It's enabled. And third, make sure that the options that I already show you in the cut, copy, and paste, show page option buttons when content is pasted, is also checked. We need to make sure that this one is copied. If any of these settings are disabled, flash fill may not function correctly. Now, let's discuss one key concept that many people misunderstand. Flash fill is not dynamic. This is extremely important. Flash fill recognizes a pattern in your data and fills the remaining cells based on that pattern. But it does not create a formula. What this means, that if I do, instead of Noah Carter, I do Noah Johnson, this data won't change. But if I do here, instead of Noah Carter, I do a Noah Johnson, this data will change. And the reason is because here I have a formula, and this formula, it's gonna be working all the time. But flash fill, it's static. In other words, the results are static. That means if the original source data change layer, the flash fill results will not update automatically. If your source data changes, you will either need to manually adjust the results or simply run flash fill again. So remember this idea. Flash fill is a one-time intelligent fill. It's not a live connection to your data. All right. Let's quick recap what we have covered today. First, we learned how Excel calculation works. Everything starts with the equal sign, which tells Excel you are performing a formula. We explore different ways to calculate totals, including manual addition and the much more efficient sum function. We also saw how formulas automatically adjust when you drag them thanks to a relative referencing, and how shortcuts like AutoSum and Alt plus equal can dramatically speed up your workflow. On top of that, we practiced calculating percentages, change, and formatting numbers properly using accounting, percentages, commas, and decimals to make our data clear and professional. Next, we move into working with dates and time. We talk about how Excel interprets dates based on regional settings and why it is important to verify the correct date format. We also learned some extremely useful shortcuts to quickly insert timestamp, such as Ctrl plus semicolon for the current date and Ctrl plus Shift plus semicolon for the current time. This is perfect for logging and tracking events in your data. Then we explore the autofill, one of the best tools for speeding up data entry. By using the fill handle, Excel can copy values, create sequences like serial numbers, and even fill weekdays only when working with dates. Understanding the autofill option gives you more control over how Excel populates your data. Finally, we have looked at Flash Fill. Yay! Which allows Excel to recognize patterns and automatically complete data for you. Whether you trigger it from the ribbon, the autofill menu, or the Ctrl+E shortcut, Flash Fill can save a lot of time when cleaning or restructuring data. But the key thing to remember is that Flash Fill is not dynamic. It fills value once based on a pattern, but it does not create formula. So today we covered some of the most powerful fundamentals in Excel: formulas, percentage, dates and timestamp, autofill, and flash fill. Mastering these tools will dramatically improve the speed, accuracy, and professionalism of your spreadsheets. In our next section, we are going to go a little deeper. We will cover maybe custom autofill list, comments, notes, and documentation, best practices, how to create and use tooltips, and we will also do a brief overview of working with images, shapes, and objects inside of Excel. One important update: our session will be moving from Wednesdays to Thursdays. This change will give us a bit of more flexibility and will allow us in the future to occasionally extend the training sessions when needed. I know that right now we are just scratching the surface, and for some advanced users this may feel basic, but these concepts are the foundation for many people who are just starting their journey in Excel and data analysis. As I mentioned before, stay tuned because the training will continue to get deeper and more interesting as we progress. I'm looking forward to see you in the next session. And once again, I encourage you to leave a comment and share what you have learned during this hour, as well as topics you would love to see covered in the future. See you in the next session.